You coming up?
Well, hello, everybody. We need you to come in. Oh, I am so tired today, but I'm going to get this energy up. Come on, up. So, y'all come on in. It is time for House of Peach. We are here. We are live. We are here for another show, another great time, another great discussion. And we're only going to be on here for a little bit. So, you better get in where you fit in or you're going to miss it tonight. So, here is my beautiful sister, my friend, she's just my girl. Hey Mo, how you doing?
Yay. Listen, I am equally as tired as I got a wonderful phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning
Oh
to
wow.
when I say one of the most spectacular births I have ever witnessed. Yes.
Oh no.
I was like, the backstory behind this couple is just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the way that they just work this thing, this was first baby. The gender reveal was when baby was born. So it was wonderful to just everyone be surprised all at the same time.
Oh,
I had the pleasure of meeting her OB, which was an amazing Black woman who, when I tell you, just blew me out the water. And I was like, how did I not even know that you existed? I am so glad that I met you. We exchanged information. She was wonderful too. So I'm tired, but it's a good kind of high.
yeah.
So, and good. I was like, I believe my May is starting to die down a little bit.
Okay. Well, it's still yet early, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't speak too soon. We'll see how that goes.
Exactly. But yeah, I was like, all in all, it's a good space. Happy Mother's Day to you. Mother's
Happy
Day
Mother's
was
Day to you
this weekend.
too. Yeah.
Um,
What did you do? Did you do anything special or just spend time with the boys?
Girl, no, I do not celebrate Mother's Day. Mother's Day we're gonna have to do a whole episode on that. I was like that.
What?
Yes, that in and of itself is like a whole thing.
Okay, I
You
can
know,
understand.
yeah, I was like dealing with like estrangement from my mother, dealing with things when it comes to my biological mother. I was like, it ends up being a lot when you have younger kids. It's a little different than when they're older. You know what I mean? So you have
Right.
to, whether it's rely on someone else to go get, like I just saw a family member went out and bought roses for another family member's kids because she has really young kids. How
Okay.
else would she be observed on Mother's Day if dad isn't going to step up and do this for the kids so that they can be able to do stuff? They don't have money, they can't take themselves to the store, all of those
Right.
kind of things. So like I said, there's a lot of conversations and a lot of things to unpack, whether it's sometimes it's even mothers, when your mother is no longer here and having to deal with Mother's Day and that and grieving in that. So or longing to be a mother. Mother's Day can be heavy or tons and tons of fun. But
Right.
for me, it was a little different. I actually worked, so I made a little money, spent some
Uh-huh.
time with some good people, and
Okay.
yeah. So I was like, that's what I did for
Oh.
Mother's Day.
Well, I got a chance to go and spend Mother's Day with my mom and my
Okay.
daughters. So it was like one, two, three generations of mothers there in the house and got a chance to
Yay.
spoil the baby some more. I absolutely love that baby. He's
Oh, good.
so attentive. And the one thing that is so funny about him is when he's ready to go to sleep, he wants to lay down. He does not want to be held. So
That's
he may drift off to
wonderful.
sleep for a little bit, but then he starts to squirm and cry. But when you lay him down, gone. He's just in his happy place. I'm like, oh, he wants to eat
He
and lay
he
down.
knew what Kayla needed.
Yeah. So I had a
Wonderful.
good time with them, and my mom cooked, and we just kind of stayed around the house. I went and got my little hair
I
done.
know. I see the got to do.
I gotta get ready. So yeah, so it was nice. I my mom lost her mother, my grandmother, several years ago. So I know it's a time where she may feel a certain way about that. But we crowded her with love, and we were
Right.
all there. So it was fun. I enjoyed that. But then I had to come back to reality, girl, and come back here to work and planning and cleaning and organizing. Like, I'm so over it.
Exactly.
Rafael, where have you been?
Yeah.
We haven't seen you in a minute. Like, seems like forever.
Hey,
So,
I can cry.
so y'all that are coming in, come on, share this out, share the broadcast out. Hey, Jason, I see you on my page. Hello, hello. So share this out. Let people know that we're on. We have a great topic. I'm ready to get into it. That way we can, do what we need to do. I honestly feel scatterbrained today. I was
Well,
talking
you've got a lot that's going on, and
yes.
then when you're tired as well, that kind of just
And I have not, and I thought this past weekend was going to be a weekend that I could stay home and just relax because I needed that. I've been traveling so much. I'm like, I just need a break. I need a break. And then as I was coming back last weekend, not this weekend past, but the one before, Zuri texted me and she said, Mom, don't forget your hair appointment is Saturday at 5:30. I said, fine, I'll be there Friday. Oh, so I just drove up Friday, like my car. I just paid the car off and I have been zooming up and down the highway. Like, I just need to sleep. And I'm not going to have it because after the events this weekend, then I go to Atlanta and from Atlanta to Denver and then back. So June, so far, fingers crossed, June is my relaxed month.
So guess what? So is mine. So that maybe that is a sign that in June is when we need to see each other.
Oh, hey, I'm down. I'm game. I'm game for it.
So don't tell me what a good time. June. Okay, there goes. We will put that in the works. I was like, our guest said, yeah, I feel like we should take a nap and come back. When I tell you,
Let's hear.
Look, I took a little cat nap before I got on here. Noah, I played Yeti and Spaghetti with him for a little while. I did a couple of other things, but I was like, when I first came in, I did honestly take a nap because it's crazy. I had told you, I was like, I kind of feel when my clients are going into labor and either I will be extremely sleepy or I will just be awake and extremely alert by the time that, they're giving me a call.
Yeah.
So yesterday was one of those where I was kind of just restless, but I had slept a lot during the day because I wasn't really feeling well. So I was like, oh, okay, well, you know what? Maybe that's exactly what that was. So I was like, that feeling well and me needing to recoup and kind of just like go into shell and into self was what was necessary because then I needed to be able to do that this morning. And I was like, that time allowed me to be able to be present for today.
I won't ever have that moment anymore to just go within self and just hide out.
I say you have to make it. You got to make it. Well, look, we'll get on our normal, check-in chats.
Yes, we need to do
really
that.
Go inside self. I've had to teach myself that, and it's when I say now, I could care less. You can feel some type of way about it. I'm gonna give myself this.
I'm sitting there. This is no lie. Just today, I'm working now. I'm supposed to get off work. I'm in Central Standard Time Zone. I'm supposed to get off at 4:30 my time, and I'm just working and doing stuff, not even paying attention to the time. And then all of a sudden, I just looked at the clock like, why is it 5:15 and I'm still working? What happened? So then I get up from the computer because I'm like, I need to get away from this computer. And I don't have that much time before I have to get back on again because it's just a little after 6:00 here, 6:30.
Right.
So I can't go lay down because if I do, I'm not getting up. But so I just started sweeping. Like, I need to clean up. So let me just sweep and do this. Like, I'm a basket case. And so but Tasha, she's like, I was wondering when it was going to hit you. I was wondering when it was finally, because I've been like, I'm good. I'm just getting something done. I'm good. And today she's like, yeah, it finally hit you, didn't it? Yeah, it has.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Be like, oh, this is really taking place. Like, oh my God. Yeah. So, but it's all good. It's all good. So for y'all that are just joining, we just kind of chopping it up before our guest comes on. And one thing that I was going to say Jason, oh my God. One thing that Morgan and I do is we keep it real on here. This is not ever scripted, y'all. We don't script this out. We just, whatever comes out our mouth comes out our mouth and we just deal with it. So we we's tired. We's tired today, and we are mentally drained. However, we are committed to giving you a great show and a great conversation. So, Morgan, please
Yes.
do us the honor of introducing our guest so we can go ahead and get this conversation started.
So I'm like really excited to talk to our guest today. She comes from a couple of different places when talking about relationships and recovery. So she does couples coaching, which I think is awesome. And she does like courses for like high profile women and their partners. So yeah, absolutely. And one thing, like when I first met our guest, her name is Lacey. When I first met her, I was like, ooh, this is good. Because as we have said in multiple episodes before, if you don't have your home life right, your business tends to suffer.
Absolutely.
Because they're not, you kind of can't detach the two because
Right.
you are bringing you to your business.
Right.
If you don't have house together, then things can tend to be in disarray. So I think that this is going to be, you know, a great discussion when it comes to just couples in general, how to deal with maybe even you know, entrepreneurship and intimacy in couples and how you actually, you know, work with that communications. I'm just open to whatever, you know, Lacey, you've got to share. So
this is about to be good. I'm ready.
Exactly.
I'm ready for all that.
Exactly. Like this is like perfect timing too for everything. So I was like, bring it on. Come on, Lacey.
Yes, come on, Lacey. Let's get this party started. We already added a little bit. We need her to come on in and seal the deal. Hello.
Hello. Y'all talked me up, and I'm over here like, but I need a nap too.
But I was like, look, that's exactly what we can talk about because, you know, like sometimes even in relationships, you right now might need a nap, but the reality is other things need to be done. So the question is, can your partner pick up? Because you're really only running at 20%. Can they handle that 80 for things to still be done? Or, you know, are they going to sit in their 20 as well? Because that could definitely be it. And now nothing gets done or people start to get neglected, even if there's kids in the situation. So this is all real. Like you said, we do real talk here.
Well, I'm hoping that both partners will not be at 20 at the same time. Then it's just, and you know what? If that be the case, you know what I'm thinking is let it fall where it may fall. I'm going to make sure we both at 20. Let's both go lay down and take a nap. Let's both take a time out. And those dishes can wait till tomorrow. And that laundry can wait till the weekend. And I just need this because what I don't want to ever do is get to the point where I'm at 20 and I don't do what I need to do. And because I've been there and everybody got it. I snapped on everybody. And it was like, oh, and I knew it's like I was having an out of body experience. Like I knew what I was doing, but I couldn't stop it because everything was just out of whack. So then I had to try to make amends. So I don't ever want to get to that point again. I want to be able to recognize, okay, look, I just need to lay down. My kids have told me, Mom, because they saw me like walking in circles. Like, Mom, can you please just go lay down? Can you just go take a nap? But I need to get this done. Can you just go lay down? I'm like, okay, fine. And then I'd go lay down and sleep for like 3 hours because I was exhausted. So, but Lacey, you talk to us. Help us out.
Exactly. Introduce yourself. Let us know who are you outside of your business. Some 3 interesting facts about yourself.
Okay, so interesting fact number 1, we have an emergency supply of paper plates for days when both of us are anywhere below 50%. We get out the paper plates.
You know, let me write this down. Emergency supply.
That's a tip. That's even an interesting.
Number 1, paper plates. Yeah, and also I don't feel guilty about it at all.
Hey, nothing wrong with a good paper plate.
Yeah, so let's see. We have 4 kids, and as of this past Wednesday, we are empty nesters.
Wait a minute, empty nester? You look like your kid should be little.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, she's got an 11-year-old, maybe like 8-year-old.
Empty nesters, yeah, 10, 9, 13. No.
19, 26. Like, no.
What?
Go ahead,
Everything.
girl. Whatever you are doing.
I know. You look fabulous.
I actually, so this is interesting and it goes in with the business stuff. I have a connective tissue disorder and we don't actually age. My grandma looked 40 when she was 85.
Oh, wow.
But I also looked 12 till about last year when I just turned 46. So,
Wow.
you know,
So it works in your favor. The
Well,
disorder
yeah,
works in your
now,
favor.
now it does. When I remember I was at the grocery store one time and I had my 3 little boys in the basket and I was pregnant. Everybody could tell. And the lady goes, the cashier, she says, "Oh, it's so nice of you to babysit when you're about to pop." And I said, "They're all mine." I was almost 30. I said, "They're all mine." She goes, "Oh." And she just went back to her business. Because I looked 15.
You didn't know what.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know how to even approach that subject. So
She had no idea what to say. She's like, "Okay, let me just scan your groceries right now." It was great.
I would have been like, now wait a minute, how old are you? I would have been asking the question, like, wait, what's going on here?
I was pushing 30.
I need the math to math. Okay.
Right, because it
Yes.
wasn't nothing. It was
Awesome. Well, congratulations. That's a new era of life.
It's something.
And how long have you been empty nesting?
Just as of
Let's
Wednesday.
see.
You said
8,
Wednesday?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 6 days.
Wow.
Okay, I've seen some of your guys' podcast, so I feel like I can say this here.
Yeah.
Empty nester sex is way better.
I can only imagine because those kids have timers. They are like master blockers.
Yeah, and like nobody's here.
So,
Anything goes.
did you take up all the house keys when they left? Like, here, I'm gonna need your house keys. I'm gonna need the garage door openers. Anything you got with access to this house, I'm gonna need everything.
Make sure you knock before you enter.
That's step 2. That's what I got to do next, and be like, "You're not gonna want to just walk in at this point."
You got traumatized those kids.
Exactly.
Oh,
You're like, Mom, that's the Thanksgiving table. What are you doing?
Well, so I help women come out of sex addiction and stuff, and I've always been interested in this because I feel like women are so shamed sexually, and we're like, be quiet and all this. And so with our kids, we talked about all the things at the kitchen table. We talked about masturbation. We talked about pornography. We talked about LGBTQ issues. Like, we talked about all the stuff. And so they might not be surprised if it was the Thanksgiving table, but they would tell me, "Mom, they don't talk about the same stuff we talk about." Like, and I would get censored before their friends came over for dinner.
It's like, whatever you do, these are off-limit topics. Like, just don't go down that road.
Don't say masturbate at the table tonight, Mom.
But the funny thing is, though, the kids who don't have parents that are open like that, we look for opportunities and for parents to do that. There's a couple of groups that I'm in on Facebooks where there are moms that are like, "Help, please. Like, I would like to talk to my kids about sex. I would like to talk to my kids about all these things, but I have no idea where to start." You know, the kids are coming from a different place now. Like, one of the moms was expressing how she wanted to talk about birth control with her daughter, and her daughter just looked at her and was like, "My body, my choice." And she's like, "What do I say to that?" And I'm like, respect that, because to be 100% honest, if she can say that to you and you as a parent can be able to respect that, then some little boy or some little girl that's going to come around and try to pressure her into doing something that she doesn't want to do, she can look at them too and say, because my mom can hear me and say my body, my choice, and give me other options, then she can be able to do the same when it comes to other people. So we were like, you know, we can give you the tools or at least the resources to be able to, you know, explain to her what her other options are. If she doesn't want to do birth control, what are her other options so that she can still be responsible should she choose to be, you know, sexually active. So I think that that's, amazing that you guys can sit down and be open and have those conversations, because honestly, I feel like your kids are probably starting off on a better foot than most.
Yeah, my kid, I know when I would have those conversations with my three oldest, their mouths would drop and they were like, Mom, really? Are you going there? I'm like, yeah, I'm going here. And I'm using the very words. I'm not going to skate around it. I'm going to say the very words that need to be said. And my son, he's very dark. He's dark skinned. He's darker than I am. But you can see him like get all flushed here, like, oh my God, my mom is talking about this. Why are you talking about? I'm like, I want you to know, I don't want any unwanted grandkids, sir. Wrap it up. Do what you need to do. I need to go buy it. He's like, no, Mom, I don't need you to buy that for me. But okay, well then I want you to make sure you use them, because that's real. Getting an STD is real. Pregnancy is real. Let's talk about this, you guys. Hey, my son's like, oh, my mom is crazy, but hey,
yeah. And for the boys too, it's real, like HPV. Like they don't really realize, like, you can't go get tested for that as a male, but you are most definitely the carrier. And as promiscuous as you are now passing that on to every girl. And now you're putting her at risk for cervical cancer and a whole lot of other things. And it's unfortunate because we also don't have the information that's around a lot of this. So there's, a lot of fear that's put into it. So it's like, let's hurry up and, vaccinate our children earlier, because now they're having sex earlier and these things. But like HPV actually resolves itself up until 25 if you stay abstinent.
Wow. Oh my God. Charla says she had a drawer in the kitchen for condoms. Thank you. Here. I know you want to do it. So here, go in there.
They're going to do it. Yeah.
Because you can't stop them. So here, I might as well just spare you.
This day and age, it's about consent and protection.
Yeah.
Consent and protection. And like boys need to learn consent too. Like they're half of that equation. Yeah. And so we spent a lot of time talking consent and protection. And at one point I was talking to my three older ones and they were like they were 17, 14, and 13. And I was pretty sure my 17-year-old was already doing his own thing. And they were kind of getting embarrassed and being silly. And I said, if you guys don't stop making stupid jokes, I'm going to go get a condom and I'm going to get a banana. I'm going to teach you how I learned. And then you'll have a reason to be embarrassed. And they just shut up.
Yeah, we don't want those kind of problems. Yeah, okay, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, they all just, okay, never mind. For listening. Wow. Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly. So now how do you foster that same kind of communication now with your partner? Because I feel like a lot of times communication is a thing that ends up failing at some point in time, even if it started off as a friendship. There is actual, history behind it. Communication somehow ends up falling through the cracks. And so now the things that you used to be able to say, you can't say anymore, or the things that used to be a joke, you can't say anymore, or there isn't any kind of communication now. And you're over here trying to read mind vibes.
Right. Which nobody is good at. So it's not just your partner who sucks at mind reading. Everybody's partner, including your partner's partner, suck at mind reading.
Right.
Yeah. So what's usually when that breakdown happens, which it does for everybody, I think we don't realize that most couples go through a period of time where they're thinking, maybe this person is not the one for me. Or maybe we're not going to make it. It's actually it's not that uncommon. And choosing into the relationship sometimes means choosing to change how you interact in a lot of ways. So it's hard, but somebody needs to be willing to just put their stuff aside and extend the olive branch, if you will, first and say, what is going on for you that you feel like you can't talk to me? And then be willing to hear that. And that is hard because sometimes it can cut deep. And sometimes we didn't mean to hurt people. We didn't mean to shut them down, but we do. We all do. And what I've noticed the biggest issue is in the couples I work with and just the couples I know, and my relationship as well with my husband, it's usually the problem is a definition problem. Yeah. So I might say, I'm not feeling well. And he says, well, do you want me to get you some chicken noodle soup? And I'm like, no, I mean, I'm going to snap on you. I need to go to bed. Or like, we
Right.
have to look at the definitions we're using, because a lot of the time we want the same thing. We're just using different words to try to get it. And so we're missing each other.
Yeah. I don't remember what training that I was in, but they were teaching about communication. And so it was a conference I went to in Minnesota some years ago. And the group that I was in, the lady gave us a button. And whoever had this button in their hand, they were the ones that could speak. But at the time, you want to ask the questions to get clarity on what they meant and what they were saying. And I think that that's what's missing, because we're not communicating deep enough or enough to ask the question, okay, I heard you say is this what you meant? There are a few, I won't say nobody, but there are a few couples that don't want to go that extra step to ensure that clarity so we don't miss each other. So if you have that and you see that, how do you steer them in the direction to where they can get to that point where they understand each other?
Yeah, so it starts with creating safety so that there can be vulnerability. And vulnerability is actually a 4-letter word, RISK. And it's scary for a lot of people. And like you said, Morgan, there's history in every relationship. It built like within hours of meeting each other, we now have some sort of history, even if it's small. And if there's not a history of safety, that has to be rebuilt. And people can't and won't be vulnerable if they don't feel safe. If they feel like I'm going to get attacked or shut down or berated or walked away from, or if I'm going to lose you, I'm not going to open up because it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's about going, okay, and we have to ask ourselves, where am I not feeling safe? And can I communicate that to my partner, or does there need to be some groundwork first? So for example, in a lot of my clients, they go through a period of abstinence where they're not actually having sexual intimacy because they have to rebuild the mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, intellectual intimacy that goes away. Because there are a lot of people who think if we're having regular sex or good sex, then we're good. I'm sorry, you can pay somebody for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a really. You can go to a bar and get that. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So we take that out of the equation a lot of the times for a time, and then bring it back in slowly with first holding hands and sitting next to each other on the couch, and then like first, second, third date kisses, as opposed to, the things that we'd be okay with our high schoolers doing. As far as we want our high schoolers to go, that's where that would go. So, and measuring at every point, what are we ready for next? But before you can really have some of the conversations you need to about sexual intimacy, like preferences and don't do this, and I like this and I hate that, and what do you like? That is really vulnerable, and it's incredibly private. And people are not going to have those conversations, or conversations about what you did that scares me or upsets or hurt me. They're not going to have those conversations when they don't feel safe. And so that comes to us all going, where am I unsafe for my partner? And asking them, is there anything I do that makes you feel unsafe? And then listen. We can't be like, oh, but that was just because of this. That was this. Okay. You just reinforced you're not safe.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, but you did just reinforce that you're not safe because you're not listening, you're defending.
Yeah. And then that just takes the relationship down a road that if you don't realize it and come get on the other side of it, you won't recover from that. And I've been in that situation where I wanted to share how I felt, and I started to, and I kind of like eased into it. But the attack that came was like, oh, okay, so I just immediately shut down. Like, you're not going to receive anything that I said. So then eventually I realized I need to get out of here. This is not going to work because you're not going to hear anything that I have to say. You're not going to acknowledge it. It's not important to you. It doesn't matter. So I need to make me matter. And so I had to exit in order for me to matter. And then I went through that same process of what you said of rebuilding because I had to rebuild myself. But some people, and it stems from the history, from the past, from the childhood, from previous relationships. They don't take the time to rebuild themselves. So then they go right into the next thing and they don't learn from where they were before. And you just repeat the same cycle. So
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate part. But I'm at a place now where I communicate a whole lot better than I used to. So I'm good about yes, I like that. No, I don't like that. Don't do that anymore. That makes me mad, and you about to get hurt. I don't have those issues. I don't have to do what I've done in the past, which was shut down. And that was my sign that I didn't like this. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm vocal, like very vocal. I've never been this vocal before in my life. So
Good
for
for
me to
you.
do that in relationship, that's big for me.
But I think that also is a testament to the person that you're in a relationship with, because
Yeah.
as Lacey was saying, if that safe space wasn't provided, you wouldn't feel as free
Absolutely.
to say, I like this, I don't like that, I don't, you know what I mean? So how do you deal with the partner where you are attempting to be vulnerable, you are doing the work, you're, trying to put this stuff out there and even start some of these hard conversations, but your partner isn't necessarily ready to either hear, have the conversation, might not have the emotional intelligence to have it, whatever. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so one of the tips that I really like, I actually got from Kim Giles, who was one of my coaches early on, and she taught us to say, if I needed to talk to you about something really important that might be hard to hear, how would you want me to bring that up? What person wouldn't then be like, what are we talking about? And so that's one way. And I think another way is it's a 5-point conversation model. So just imagine a star with the 2 points at the bottom. And this is your experience and my experience. And then there's my needs, or sorry, you're on this side, your needs and my needs. And we're going back and forth trying to communicate this. Like, this was my experience. Oh, that's absolutely not what I meant. I am so sorry. That is not what I meant. Yep, that's what I said. Not what I meant. This is what I meant. And we're doing this back and forth. And so it's like we're taking a red side and blue side and we're making purple in the middle. As we go through our experience building safety, now we can share what we need building safety. And then up at the top of the star, that's where we have a mutual resolution and the increase in intimacy and safety and emotional trust. Because now we decide the tip of that star is, what are we going to do now so that we don't get to the bottom of this star again?
How do you, I guess, describe intimacy and then dive a little deeper into, like you were saying, if there is a lack of intimacy in all of these other areas, then sexually it's going to end up, suffering as well.
Yeah. Well, for some people, I knew one couple and it blew my mind because she was like, we don't have any problems. We have sex every night. And I was like, so do a lot of people.
Right.
I'm missing your point. And that was seriously how she gauged her whole relationship. We have sex every night. And it's great. Okay, but they didn't talk about anything. He had tens of thousands of dollars hidden away from her.
Wow.
Deciding if he was going to leave or not. So it might look like things are fine because this part is good. But what we need in a relationship that's really going to last is we need to be able to have the conversations about all the things, about our kids if we have them, about how we're affected by each other's parents and siblings if we have them, about money and what's important to both of us, about trips and vacations. If you've got an extrovert and an introvert in the same relationship, somebody's going to be really bummed unless they have a lot of conversations about that. And they're both going to have to be uncomfortable because the extrovert might need to stop going out so much and the introvert might need to step it up and be willing to leave the house more. But those conversations have to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did that answer your question?
In that kind of situation, can it work where they come to like a mutual agreement where maybe the extrovert goes off and kind of does their thing and then comes back because the introvert is like, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. For example, my husband's best friend was from Thailand, and he came in to visit. And my husband hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and they've been really close for a long time. And he came in, and they were like going out all the time doing things. They wore me out in 2 hours. And so I just said, I'm so happy for you that your friend is here. I'm going to stay home and I'll tidy up the house and do the laundry. You have fun. Mind you, I'm not an introvert. I'm absolutely an extrovert, but I get tired really easy with my illnesses.
Right.
And like he loves to go play volleyball. I love volleyball too, but I can't play anymore because every time I play, it ruptures blood vessels anywhere the ball hits. And so I can't play anymore, and it's too late at night when he goes to play. So I go to bed early, and he has a great time. And there was this point where he would say, I'll be home by 11 or 11:30. I'll be home between 11 and 11:30. But he wasn't getting home till 1 or 2 in the morning because they play, and then he and the guys would sit there and chat for hours. But then he comes in, and he's waking me up when he comes in. And I was like, Kate, waking me up at 2 a.m., it's not working for me anymore. And so he started showering in the other shower. And then I was like, hey, you keep saying you'll be home at 11:30. And I feel like you're lying to me because you are never home by 11:30.
Right.
And this is the only place ever you have lied to me and not kept your word. And it's really bothering me. And so he just quit going to volleyball for about 5 weeks. And then he picked back up again. And since then, he has been home before 11:30 every single time.
Wow.
Because he realized that he didn't want me feeling lied to. He didn't want me feeling like he wasn't showing up how he said he would.
Right. And he wasn't doing anything that was wrong. But that's one of those, like, you don't let your good be spoken of as evil, because it does have you sitting in a space of now wondering, is he dead in a ditch somewhere? Did something happen? Now, are you out here doing something that you shouldn't be? Like, you know, and as married women, we're over here like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I wish you would. You know, and my husband is in a band. So that's something that, like, we actually, and it is what it is. I'm gonna put it out there. I had to have a conversation recently, and I was like, listen, we just started sharing calendars this way. It's like, you know exactly what's going on with me. There's no question, because I own 2 businesses and I homeschool. He's got, you know, work and his band as well. So I'm like, we're trying to make sure that everything goes together. But I see rehearsal and it says from 8 to 10. Now, I know rehearsal typically isn't from 8 to 10, but I was like, oh, well, maybe he's, you know, turning over a new leaf, doing something different. 2:30 in the morning, you're coming through the door. Now I'm starting to flip out. Because, like, just like you said, I feel like you're lying to me.
Yeah.
And so, and I thank God, one, for therapy, because the child Morgan would have been like, all over the place. This one was just like, listen, the calendar says this is the time. This is the time that you came in. What exactly is going on?
Yeah.
Well, calendar, if I put it in the calendar for when it would technically be over, it looks like it takes up 2 days. And so I was like, okay, I get that. Like, I mean, I'm smart enough to know if you put till 12 o'clock, like, I'm not gonna think at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're still booked. You know what I mean? But I understood the thought process in it. So I was like, okay, I give you that. But now I'm still letting you know that I don't feel comfortable at 2:30, you coming in, because of the time in which you're leaving.
Mhm.
And I was like, you work a 12-hour shift already, which is overnight. So you're not home half of the month. Then when you're doing this, now you're out of the home even more. And sometimes it's almost like a whole work shift. I am totally fine with that because I understand what you're doing. I am 100% behind what he's doing. I support it. But at the same time, I'm like, I also need you to take that time here because I still get the brunt of things. And it's like, oh yeah, I get to go off and gallivant and do what I want to do. But now I'm over here. I don't get to do what I want to do. I still have to run these businesses with these kids looking at me in my face and then still do everything else. So being able to have that conversation sometimes is even hard for the person that's got to be vulnerable, because how do I convey this in a manner that is received? Because I'm not coming at him any type of way, but I want him to know that the actions and what he's doing, how it's making me feel. And I hope that at the same time that he takes that, and then it's like, okay, let me take that into account. And now he comes home earlier.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Or if he
That works.
communicates and says, hey, at 2:00 in the morning, hey, rehearsal is now done and I'm on my way home. Like for me, it's like just some kind of communication. I don't care if you sleep.
In a previous marriage, I had that very conversation because when we were just dating, we would go out together. So
Right.
we would stay out late to come in. After we got married, I'm like, yo, we're married, we got a kid, things are a little different. We need to shift a little bit. I said, I don't mind you going out, have fun, enjoy yourself. I'm here with our daughter, I'm good. I said, just don't come in at 5:30 in the morning when the sun is coming up. Like, I'm your wife. Like, why would you do that? And do you know? And I said it just calmly like this. And I was told, I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. I said, oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to do what I want to do. And shortly thereafter, I bounced. Okay. Like, no, because it
Yeah.
becomes later and later. Like, here it is, 3 in the morning, then it's 5 in the morning, then it's like in the afternoon. Like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, he's not out there doing anything. Listen, unfortunately, my husband is related to the entire state of Delaware. So if I really wanted to know something, I don't have to do so much research to find out what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Make one phone call and you got it.
Girl, like for real. I will go down the street and somebody will be like, hey, cuz, and they'll know me. I don't even know who they are. Aren't you? And they know exactly who I am. So yeah, it happens like that. But just in, like I said, having that conversation, he's like, no, I'm trying to make the most of the time that I have in the time that I have it. And so, yeah, if I'm done with rehearsal at 11 o'clock, I might go over here and talk to this producer about something. I might go over here to this event person and talk to them about that. I'm trying to cram it in so that the next day that I have off, I don't have to come home. I don't have to leave at all. So in hearing that, if nothing else, I was like, okay, so he's at least trying to be intentional about his time. He is trying to be considerate about how he's splitting his time, but then also, I guess, trying to take what he's doing seriously as well. Okay, cool. That I can respect. So then for me, my expectation, like you were saying, sometimes we have to alter how we do things in order to make it work. I was like, okay, so here's the thing. I just need communication then.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's what you're doing, I can respect that. But I also do need you to take into consideration that it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I have never come in at that time.
Yeah.
So if I have made it a conscious decision to not schedule things that have me coming out at that time and we're not together, or obviously, a birth, someone calling me 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm leaving the house at that time and I've, communicating. This morning, I called him right before I got the phone call. I called him, he's at work. I'm letting you know, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going to be. Checked in once I got there. And this is so that you've got, because of the time, I just don't want there to be any, I feel like time, lack of communication just sets in so much crap
Mhm.
that it's harder to sift through if you don't talk about it than you do. So for me, I'm like, whether you want to hear it or not, I will overshare. I will over communicate if that's what's necessary. And hopefully some of this will rub off on you to come over there. Now, is that something that, because I was my therapist is always like, well, sometimes, you're not going to get both parties participating. You might have to be the person that, is the bigger person, so to speak, and does the work. And then hopefully it rubs off. Is that true? Is that how you have found, like, doing couples counseling? Like, some of them are like, oh, you don't need couples counseling at all. Some of it is like, oh, you're only just one person needs to be there. Or is it both?
Yeah. My husband, for the first time ever, is seeing his own therapist. We've been married 27 years. So
Okay.
just put that out there. And I've been seeing therapists since I was 17. Like at 17, I was like, I'm a wreck. I'm going to need some help with this. And so I hired my own therapist at 17. I'm like, why do people not just go to therapists when they need them? I don't know. But it is really common for guys to feel like they don't need anything. They don't need the coaching or whatever, which is why in the initial phone calls, we get the whole couple on the phone so that we can help them to see that. Here's the thing. A woman has so much creative energy and power. I mean, she grows people. How cool is that? Women grow human beings. There's nothing more complex on this planet than growing a human being. We do that. You're welcome. And
that part.
Right. And we really are more of the environment than we give ourselves credit for. And so I can teach a woman all the skills and tools. And I did for the first 5 years. I would just teach the women. And then they would go and they would teach their partners and they would teach their kids. And it was great. But it was like she was going like this and then she was having to pull them along, which is a lot of work for her. And so instead, I just started bringing in the husbands, and it was my husband's idea. And so I taught him my coaching model. And now we coach the male partners together. And he's learning all of the stuff I'm teaching these other people.
Okay.
It's fantastic. Because I've been trying to teach it to him for like 5 years. Now that he's hearing me tell someone else, he's like, oh, that's a good idea. I know.
How did you manage that 5 years of having this information and trying to teach him, but it seems like it went in one ear and out the other?
Prayer.
That's what helped you keep your sanity.
Yeah. Prayer.
I feel you.
I have friends, but also once he picks something up, he's on the autism spectrum. Once he gets something, it's like the code switches and all of a sudden he gets it. Okay. And never have to say anything about it again. And so that's been good because he's picking this stuff up super fast. Not that I haven't been living it in front of him for a long time, but whatever.
Right.
And now that he's teaching it to these other guys and he's watching the dynamic between these two partners, like every now and then he's like, did I sound like that? Oh no, you were worse. No, it took me 10 minutes to get through to him. I had to work on you for 17 years. You should be so lucky. But once he gets it, he gets it. And he's great. Don't let me fool you. He's really amazing. And it is hard. And there is a period of time. I mean, even April, you've talked about it in these past relationships where there's this standard you have for yourself and your conduct in your relationships. And you can give people time and information, but if they refuse to come up to that standard, something has to shift. And so I just started to pull away from him. I was like, guess I'm going to have to get these needs met elsewhere or do it myself. So I started just meeting all my own needs. So I was like, that's fine. I'll just meet all my own needs. He's like, I feel like I don't need you. Oh, at this point, I only need the paycheck. Would you like that to change? Because I wasn't kidding. I was like, at this point, I only need the paycheck. If you'd like that to change, I can give you some suggestions. But just know if I give you the suggestion, I expect follow through, and I'm just going to be mad if you don't.
Yeah.
And so,
and that's,
Yeah.
that's literally how the conversation went.
Yeah. That's pretty much the conversation.
Because you've given him the information, so
Yeah.
now the responsibility is on him.
Yeah.
Follow through. So if you don't follow through, then that right there confirms that what I feel and what I think doesn't even matter. So I always I have a friend of mine who was, and not Morgan, another friend of mine had issues with her husband, and she's like venting to me, and I'm like, but did you say that to him? Did you share with him how you felt? No, I just go my own way and do my own thing. I'm like, well, I'm about tired of hearing this if you're not going to share that with him, because he doesn't know, so you can't hold him accountable for what he doesn't know that bothers you. Can you open your mouth and say something? Because otherwise, when I see you on my call ID, I'm not going to answer because you just going around the circles when you haven't even told the one that's doing it. Like, I'm not doing it and I don't want to hear it. I don't need you jumping that on me. Okay. But that communication, we have to tell them so they know. So once you, like you said with your husband, once you tell him and he gets it, he got it. So tell them so they can and give them the time to process it, and then come back, say, okay, I've had time to process it. Let's have a discussion. Okay, what do we need to put into place? That's how, in a perfect world, that's how it would be. But that's what we are striving for to get to, is that. But,
exactly. And Lacey, tell me if I'm wrong, but we also, grace is necessary for both yourself as well as your partner, especially if you are doing the growing and the changing that's necessary for yourself. And you have been, like you said, demonstrating different behavior for your partner. So now when you're setting new boundaries and different things, like, you have to give them grace. You can't be mad if you've been doing something and accepting behavior for the last 15 years and now all of a sudden you done got it. And now he's supposed to just, or she, right, get it right afterwards. No, you're going to have to give some time. There's going to be some mistakes. You're going to have to remind and say, hey, remember, we're not doing that anymore. Or that doesn't work for me anymore. But not want to kill a person still at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Which is an excellent point I want to make. It'll take them time to change their mindset and behaviors, because you can change your mindset and then forget, because a lot of the things we do that irritate or hurt or upset people, they're really just habits, and we just need to change the habits. So it takes time to change the habits. And so, we do need to give people time and can gently remind, and it does take time, just because we have been doing it, like you said, and now we've picked up on it. Now this is how we do it. It also doesn't mean they want to do it that way.
Right.
So one example I'll share real quick. So we have our 3 sons on the autism spectrum, and then our fourth child is non-binary and also on the spectrum. So, and my husband's on the spectrum. And so that's been interesting. But early on, I gave up on the dishwasher, how it was loaded. Because I needed the help loading the dishwasher more than I needed it done my way. And as long as the dishes came out clean, I seriously to this day don't care. But you got to put the knives face down, because my little 4-year-old fell on the dishwasher and a butter knife went up their nose and cut their nose. And I called the paramedics because it was gushing. And so ever since then, the knives have to face down. Other than that, I do not care how you load the dishwasher, and I do not care who does it. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. You got to pick and choose your battles, especially when it comes to that workload. Can you talk about how to, I was watching this reel the other day, and it was like, sometimes there ends up being one partner who is completely oblivious to the mental load of what goes on in the house. And so then, it gets to a place where that person tends to not say something because, you know, we get angry. That's that angry sweep and mop. And now you're yelling at everyone because instead of just telling folks, hey, I need you to do, now it's just like, I know you saw all of these dishes in the sink for the last like 2 days and nobody has done anything. I know you have seen this on the floor and you stepped over it 15 times. I know that this, and ain't nobody doing squat, and now it's just all on you.
April, I'm getting mad just listening to her.
You know what? I'm mad, but I'm laughing because I've been that person. You're gonna step over that paper, and why do I have to do everything around here? Do I have to tell you what? And then I was like, whoa, but let me just delegate. So my son is here for the summer from college, and I'm like, every night I'm like, son, can you clean up the kitchen for me? I just need to go to bed. He's like, all right, mom, I got it. Wake up the next morning, kitchen spotless. So it's so much easier to, you just can't, they're not going to think to do stuff. They're not.
Some people really don't see it. They really don't see it. You really have to tell them that the lid will not stay on because it just doesn't register. That there's no plates in the cupboard, including the paper plates, because we went through all those too. Right. And there's something you could do about it. They don't know that. They're like, it does not register. And so we have to say, can you please load the dishwasher now? Like in the next hour.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to not have to do that. Can you just do it and save I'm like, Gigi, my saliva can go for other
yeah,
stuff.
Exactly. Like
you see these stack of dishes. Can you do something?
That's where, so we started what was called initiative chores.
Okay.
And if our kids saw a chore that needed to be done, and I didn't have to ask, they just did it, I'd give them $2. And I had a rich child and 3 poor children.
You know what? I might do that because my 5-year-old will be the rich child in a heartbeat.
Yeah, Noah would definitely.
Yes, I was like, and that will turn the 14-year-old around.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
He's over here having to borrow money from the 5-year-old.
I know. They're like, how come he has so much money? Initiative chores. Well, I didn't know what to do. That's the point.
Exactly.
The point is open your eyes.
Right. Pay attention to the details.
Especially when you get to the age of like 14. Because sometimes I look at my son and I'm like, every day for the last 12 years at least, I've been telling you the same thing. What part of that don't you get? Like, this is an everyday occurrence, buddy. Like, even when you're not living with me anymore, you still gonna have to do this. Like, newsflash.
Yeah, I don't.
Being an adult sucks. Look, I'm not lying to you. Okay, we got duped.
We did.
We did. We were all up here like so excited to be adults, and now we over here like, yo, this hood sucks. Like, no one told us about it.
My girls tell me all the time they're like, adulting sucks. I want to go back to being a kid. No. You wanted this. Take it. Run with it.
Absolutely.
Deal with it because you out of here.
But I'm just glad somebody.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just glad somebody told me the mail's not as exciting as it looks when you're a grown up.
Oh yeah.
Because then I knew not to be excited about it when I was a grown up.
I wish somebody would have told me that, because when I say I used to get excited about mail, now I avoid it. I'm over here like, I would let that pile up.
Oh yeah, I'll let it pile up in the box for a week before I go.
Yeah, the mailman will come and be like, ma'am, you want to clean out your mailbox?
No.
And most of the time it's those flyers anyway, because I'm like, most of the stuff is paperless. But still, I'm like, listen, I don't want nothing that's in that box.
Yeah.
No thanks. You go right ahead.
Exactly.
There's so many downfalls to being an adult. There's some good perks, but then there's a whole lot of other stuff that like makes it come all the way down.
Which is why it's important to have these table conversations when they're young. You know what I mean? Starting to have these. I'm very real with my kids. Like my 14-year-old wants to start talking about dating and stuff, and I'm just honest. I was like, "What do you have to offer?" I said, are you trying to get married right now? Because the intent of dating is to marry. So are you planning on getting married anytime soon? No. Okay. Do you have a job? No. Do you have a car? No. So what exactly, as a man right now, or a young man, can you provide for her? Nothing other than friendship. Stay there, bro. Stay right there.
Right there.
Right
in that
there.
lane. In that
And he
lane.
kind of got it though. So I was like, he kind of got it. And then, he was a little upset, and he was just like, oh, well, the girl didn't get it. And I was like, that's because she don't have a mama over here telling her that she need to be friends with every boy. Because as, young girls, we are taught from the beginning to romanticize. We are taught from the beginning to look at partners, and that is what we gravitate towards. Whereas for boys, it's almost like, swallow your wild oats until you're 35 and then maybe decide to grow up. You know what I mean? And we get coddled, and sometimes moms don't do what they need to do as far as stepping back a little bit and allowing them to fall and figure it out and, do certain things. Like I look at my boys around here because I'm the only woman. Listen, there is nothing that is entitled to me at all. Them toilets got all your names on it.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
So
Not a one
only
has
have
my
one.
name on it. Like, don't play with me.
At one point, I told my husband, if you don't learn to aim, I will make you sit down or use their toilets.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, that's something you said, I can't remember what, about the dating thing with your son. This is a big thing in relationships. Like, okay, this can be misused. So I'm going to just say, let's not be jerks with this tool. But if the problem's not actually my problem, it's something they're doing, I make it their problem. So like with your son, you're like, okay, you want to date. So where are your solutions for your problems? I don't have any. Okay, so you're waiting. When you have solutions, let's talk again. Because I think that we can spend a lot of time thinking for other people and solving their problems for them, but they need to learn to come up with solutions. So with the volleyball thing, my husband playing, I started putting his pajamas and towel and underwear and soap outside the door and locking the bedroom door.
Oh.
Because I was like, you are not going to make 2 a.m. my problem anymore. I cannot do this anymore. Not going to be my problem. So at 11:30, when I go to bed, I will put your things out. Or you will have already been here. Either one's fine with me, but do not open that door. Because you will make my dog bark, and it will wake me up, and I will be grumpy, and I will want to tear your throat out.
Literally.
So we're going to have a little altercation in here.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
My anger is my problem.
Right.
I am managing it this way.
Exactly. Don't make my problem yours. You know what's good for
You
you.
do not want that to happen.
See, that's not going to go well for anybody involved. Like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
We will all regret it tomorrow.
I love this real conversation. I appreciate you so much for being really real, because I don't think that these are touched on. I know communication is definitely something that kind of goes by the wayside. There are a couple of people that I know I follow on Instagram, and there are a couple of couples, and there was this one that they were like, we've known each other since we were kids. And even that dynamic, you would think with all of these years of time together, that communication wouldn't be a thing. But they too fell into a space of not being able to communicate, whether it was missed expectations or, lack of vulnerability, not space, whatever it was at the time to do that. And so, for me, I wanted to definitely bring to the table and just have you share just a little bit about how making sure that this communication and the communication in your personal can be able to now come over into your business. And if there are some things that you can use personally that you can also then, use in your business.
Sure. I had a really good thought and it fell out of my head just now.
That's because we're all tired.
Yes,
I hope
and
it
you
comes
definitely need
back.
that nap.
It was a good one. I hope it comes back. So one example is with my clients. I love my clients, and I only let people hire me who I know I can help because I listen for the right language. I listen for them to say things like, I need to fix this. There is something wrong that, and I'm the only one who can handle it. So I'm listening for this language. So I already know I've got pretty responsible people. But whether it's a partner or a client or my husband or my kids or my neighbor, anyone, I am not going to do all of the thinking for you. And if you keep bringing the same problem over and over and over again, I am going to tell you, let's take a break for a month. Let me know if you come up with a solution before that, because I've already at that point told them the solution 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times. And like, I am wasting both of our time. And so being willing to do that, being willing to put yourself out there. And as coaches and as entrepreneurs and just as women, we're vulnerable everywhere we go anyway. We might as well step into it and manage it and control what we can. And I think that it's important that as entrepreneurs, we really remember that we're responsible not only for our business, but for us. And if we're not taking care of us and our relationships, what do we have to bring? Like, are we a 14-year-old with no car, no job, mom's not driving him around? Who are we? Or are we a business owner? Because the problems in the business are ours and we can share them. There's plenty of people to share them with if we build a team around us and significant others, and you guys have each other, and there's a lot of support out there for us. We need to look for it and know that there are people out there who will have our backs. We just might need to find them. And yeah, we might need to pay them. So pay them. And if you can't yet, get to a place where you can, or see what they can bring to the table to help raise income so you can then pay them. But just, it's not our job to fix everything for everyone, even if we're the coach or the boss or the entrepreneur or the mom or the wife. Not our job to fix everything for everyone. It is our job to handle this and to continue handling this and to teach them how to handle them. Like, as moms, our job is to teach our kids how to handle themselves. And they'll take it or leave it. All of my kids know how to clean a mean house. They can clean. They had to learn, because they all stood to pee, they had to learn to clean toilets at 6 years old because I wasn't having it. They all can clean a bathroom like nobody, but do any of them do it now? No, but that's not my problem. I don't live with them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Their wives are going to need to take that up with them because it's not my problem. I purposely make sure I pee before I go to their houses.
Right.
And
it's not that you didn't teach them either.
Right.
No woman gets to talk about what your mama didn't do. No, this mama did what she's supposed to do. You take that up with him and his lack of accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that for my 9-year-old now. She comes to me and she's like, Mommy, I need you to, oh, no. There are solutions to this. So if something's high on the shelf in the pantry, there is a step stool. Get on the step stool and get what you need. You know how to wash dishes. The only thing I haven't taught her yet is using the washing machine, but she helps me with laundry. So no, you're going to do this because you're not going to always be here, baby. If I could push you out right now, I'll be like, all right, you got to go. Because she's the last one. Like, okay, it's time for you to go. But so I'm making her, she was the one that's the closest to me, like right on my hip. So I have to really get her to be more independent. There are things that I can help you do and I need you to do. However, I need you to figure this out. Here, I'm going to show you. See one, do one, teach one. That's what we tell people in surgery. See one, do one, teach one. All right. You see me do it. You do it. You should be able to teach somebody else. So manage that. So she goes off the deep end with her emotions and she's crying and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to need you to go take time out over here in the room till you calm yourself down, and then we can have a discussion of what's going on. Otherwise, no, because I'm at a place of calm, and I'm not going to have you take me over there. So that is the key. I'm glad that you said that because it lets me know what I did for my 3 older kids, because we had that. I taught them every weekend, and my son can tell you, every weekend, every Saturday, we would get up Saturday morning, it was cleanup day. And I would give them a list of the things that I wanted them to clean. And when they got done, they came to tell me. I went to check it to make sure it was like I wanted it, or if they missed something. So then after a while, I stopped doing it. And my son was like, Mom, well, I don't remember how old he was. He said, Mom, you didn't give me a list today. I need a list. I'm like, oh, so that was in him. So now that they live on their own and they're doing stuff, I'm like, oh, I know I didn't teach you that, but okay, I'm not going to look. You grown, 24, 22. That's not because I didn't teach you. You just chose to go that route. So, okay, all right.
Here's your notepad. Here's a pen. Go make a list. If you need a list, make a list.
Make a list. Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely that kid who hated cleaning up. Like, I'm sure my mom will tell you that was part of the bane of her existence. Like, I was just that kid who was, no, I'm cool. And then when I got my own place, it was like, okay, now there's nobody here to tell me to clean up. I can clean up whenever I feel like it. And I realized that I had my own standard or my own set. And I think that's exactly what, like you're saying, Lacey, it ends up teaching them earlier. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, listen, I don't want you to be living your life in every thought of what would mom say? What would mom do? What would she have me do next? No, I need you to, like you said, figure out how to manage yourself and what works for you. So if, my oldest, I don't do his laundry anymore. And I look at him all like, for what? You are 100% capable.
Mm-hmm.
You end up running out of clothes. Sounds like a personal problem. Don't run out of clothes when we need to be walking out the house, because I will leave you.
Bummer.
Yeah.
And it will be something that you actually want to get up and go to. So now it's over there like, okay, once it gets to a certain point in the laundry basket, I'll see him go and take the stuff downstairs and be able to do it himself. So sometimes that autonomy, and not necessarily having to be that taskmaster and giving them specific time in which to do it, but it's like, listen, these are things that need to be done, period. You're going to have to do them whether you're married or not. This is a part of just being a human. I was like, then we can, kind of go from there.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's also like, this is just a part of being a business owner. I need to do these things, and some of them are really lame.
Yeah.
But do I want my business to thrive or not? Do I want clients or not? Like,
right.
If I decide I don't want clients this week, fine. I'm going to be paying for it next month. But I can decide I don't want clients for a week. Like, I don't want to do my dishes for a week. But eventually, you have to pay the piper.
Yeah.
Oh, you just spoke to me, because I was over here. Look, we were just talking about June. I'm like, my June looks pretty clear. I might take that time to kind of like mental health myself and everything else. And I was just like, but if I don't work, then how the bills gonna get paid?
So we need to be strategic, because I'm thinking about my own business. Like, wait a minute, I have neglected this. I've like been hit or miss with this. I might need to work on this a little harder. So we need to be strategic in scheduling our days. Like, okay, this day I'm gonna work all these other, but this day is for me. And then the rest of I'm gonna, we just have to be strategic. It has to be on the calendar, which I use, and then I get away from, and then I get back into it, and then I get away from. And I find that I work better with the calendar and having it in front of me, so I can see and mark my task off, because if I don't, I'm all over the place. So I have to definitely.
Maybe I need to put my day off back on my calendar, because I have found a way to like keep filling it up like a crazy person. And I'm like, you intentionally made Thursday the day off. Why are you doing that?
You needed to. Okay, let me tell you my week. Are you ready? Here's my week. Mondays, I have doctor's appointments and I tidy up my house or whatever. Tuesdays, I work. Wednesdays, I take off because I can, because Thursdays and Fridays are my heaviest work days. And I don't work Saturday or Sunday either.
Oh, wow.
Part of that is because of my physical health, part of it's mental health, part of it's because I had a bunch of crazy kids, and part of it's because I was working on a book. Like,
Right.
but here's the thing, no matter what happens in my life, it's like I have a few meetings on Tuesdays, might have some interviews, and Thursday and Friday's heavy. What day can I do? Like, so where am I going to put the rest of it? Because I've already got the space in my calendar. And mind you, at any point I can go work anyway, but we
Right,
need
right.
time off. We really need time off.
Yeah.
Our business is a 3-year-old. You need a break.
Mm-hmm.
You got that right. It is a 3-year-old.
Can you tell people how they can get in contact with you
Yes.
if they want to utilize your services? How can they find you?
You can email me at Lacey@Bentley. Hold on, that's not it. Lacey@LaceyBentley.com. And my website is LaceyBentley.com. It's LACY. You'll see there's no E.
Yeah.
In my first name, there's 2 E's in my last name. That's the best way. Oh, or if you are dealing with love or sex addiction issues, I have the love addiction support group on Facebook. It's like the what's across the top? The cover. It's a red yarn heart, and so you'll know you're in the right place. You can find me in there too.
I would definitely like to have you come back to have a whole conversation about the sex addiction.
Yeah, because you just said love addiction, and now my little wheels are turning like, well, what's that? Like,
All of that. I'd
Yeah.
like to delve with that a little bit more to get more clarity and understanding on that. That's quite it. So we'll have to schedule.
Exactly. We'll put you back on the books and
Yeah.
you let us know when you're available.
When we've all had naps, so it
Yes.
doesn't get too obnoxious too fast. Because
Right.
talking about sex, boy, that can go downhill fast.
Yeah, but we need to have that conversation. I'm intrigued. So
Yes.
Sure,
Yes.
I'd love to.
all right, guys. So we said we were only going to be on here for a little bit, and yet and still we lied to you again. The conversation was just so great, and we had so much information that's what happens when you come on the House of Peach. So if you are a female entrepreneur and you have not been on our show, you get to see what we do. This is what we do. We have couch conversation. We're just, chopping it up. Some ladies get together. Next week, I will have a major announcement to make. Oh my God. I'm going to wait till next week and make the announcement before I have to start on my next travel trek.
Yeah.
But come and join us next week, next Tuesday. We're going to have another great guest, but we're also going to talk about April and what April has going on in her life at this moment, which is great. It's exciting.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Yeah, Morgan already knows that she wants to spill the beans, but she's not.
bad.
We'll talk
Then
about it next Tuesday. So, Lacey, thank you so much for coming on with us. It has been a pleasure having you on. All the laughs, all the information, we love it, and we definitely are going to have you back on so we can have those other conversations as well. Because that's going to be interesting. Maybe we could do a he said, she said, and have that as the topic.
I dare you to get a guy on here who says sex addiction and porn are only a man's issue. Bring it.
Oh,
Actually, okay, look, don't play, because I had already said the end of this month was going to be a conversation about whether or not the he said, she said was going to be whether or not you could actually love 2 people.
Whoa.
Oh.
Listen, I won't even be able to be on that show. I'm going to be where will I be? Denver? I want to be in Denver.
Oh.
Don't do it then. Can you
reschedule that?
Can you not do that? Can you not leave? Come on.
That's fine. Look, we'll rearrange whoever we got. And I was like, we'll do he said at the beginning of the month if that's what you want to do.
Or what I can do is I can rework some of the stuff I have to do in the evening. And
because you don't want to miss that.
Don't change it just yet. Let me see what I can work on. Let me.
Okay, and I'll make sure you
conversation.
get the date, Lacey, so we can get you back in.
Oh yeah, this is
I
gonna
totally
be good.
had myself convinced I was polyamorous. Totally convinced. No, I want to be having sex with two dudes. I want to have my cake and eat it too.
See, when I say we really need to have these conversations, I can't tell you how many times it comes up. I actually had the conversation this morning with someone who like had driven by, and it was another married couple, and they were having conversations about something. I was like, you know what? I think this is a conversation, especially with this expert that we had on, where she was talking about how even in religion, how religion dumbs down and puts a lot of shame, especially when it comes to women too, with our sexuality, how we feel about certain things, how we express ourselves, whatever. So I think that, I think this would be great topic. So well, you let me know what the schedule is, Lacey. We will make sure that we get you back on.
Oh yes. We need to do
and
that.
a couple other folks. Look, I already know y'all are waiting. I have people wringing their hands waiting for the next one. So
right. All right, guys, we got to get out of here before we just continue talking and carrying on for another 30 minutes, and we'll get the directors like, did y'all look at the time and see what it was? So make sure you join us next Tuesday for our next guest and our big reveal that we're going to do. Y'all have a great evening and a great rest of your week and an even greater weekend. And hopefully it won't rain anymore here in Florida. It's like been raining and storming these past 2 days. I'm done. I'm over it. Yeah. So, all right, y'all. Until next time, we'll see you. Bye.
Yeah, I'm so extra. Express myself, I'm next up. Yeah, one more juicy. Coming up. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come up now.